Hello, dear students. In this part of the lecture, we are going to discuss the first stanza of Adrian Rich's poem, Snapshots of a Daughter-in-Law. First of all, I am going to read out the first stanza of the poem and then I'll attempt to explain it. You, once a ballet,
You once a ballet in Shreveport with henna-colored hair, skin like a peach bud, still have your dresses copied from that time, and play a Chopin prelude called by Corte. Delicious recollections float like perfume through the memory. Your mind now mouldering like wedding cake, heavy with useless experience, rich with suspicion, rumor, fantasy, crumbling to pieces under the knife edge of mere fact, in the prime of life, nervy, glowering, your daughter wipes the teaspoons, grows another way. In this part, what we have to understand is that the poem is a monologue, and whereby the speaker is the daughter in law, but it's a kind of a dialogue that takes place within her mind with her mother in law. So there are snapshots in the house, and the daughter in law, she remembers the good time she had when she was a pretty woman at Shreveport, and she looked like a peach bud, and she used to play piano also. Chopin was a famous composer, and Corte too, and she refers to a particular number that has stuck in her memory. Delicious recollections float like perfume through the memory. Now you can imagine that this young daughter-in-law is trying to remember all those moments before she got married, and all those beautiful recollections she has about her youth. And at the same time, she has something to say about her mother-in-law, and that is, you still have your dresses copied from that time. She sees that her mother-in-law is still following the kind of fashion that was considered fashionable in a time, and within her frame she sees that maybe gradually, with all these trappings of being a daughter-in-law, she is taking the path that her mother-in-law has taken. Your mind now mouldering like wedding cake. She compares her mind with a mouldering wedding cake. Now, heavy with useless experience. Now, that's an interesting kind of simile. Wedding cake is celebratory, but at the same time, it's very heavy. And useless experience, she calls it a useless kind of experience because it's almost like digesting the marriage thing is not easy, and her mind is confused, and it is moldering, it is melting out like the leftovers of a wedding cake, and her mind is full of suspicions, rumors, fantasies, and she feels as if she's falling apart, crumbling to pieces under the knife edge of mere fact, because what the facts point out, she sees that she is in a kind of trap. In the prime of her life, nervy, she has become glowering, and the daughter-in-law wipes the teaspoons and go another way. So the first part of the poem shows a rapid change that takes place in the daughter-in-law. She repudiates the mother-in-law for making her life miserable and also meaningless. She feels that the mother-in-law is an agent of limitation in her life and prospects. The daughter-in-law used to be lovely and fresh when she was young, but now her marriage and motherhood have befallen her. She structures her thoughts according to emotions and experiences. Her mind is fertile, but she is unable to utilize it. She is an educated woman, but she is seen making coffee or dusting everything on the whatnot of everyday life. Earlier, rumors and suspicions beset her mind, the ballet of Shreveport has denied her own potential by conforming to romantic feminine ideals and is now moldering away like the remnants of her wedding cake. So, in this first stanza, you see that there is a clear kind of antagonism between the daughter-in-law and mother-in-law, and the whole issue is not how mother-in-law behaves or how mother-in-law treats the daughter-in-law, but what is more important is to understand that this whole notion of marriage and the kinds of trappings and responsibilities it brings along with it for any educated woman, it is not that easy to handle, because you're doing the daily chores all the time and your mind is rich, it can think, it's independent, but at the same time, when your whole of your day goes into something that is just a part of routine, you feel frustrated that you're not able to use your potential to the extent it can be used. So the mother-in-law, in a way, she becomes a kind of a figure that she contends with, and she dislikes the fact that if if she goes on living like this, maybe she will end up like her mother-in-law. So we've already discussed in the last slide the the kind of impression, the kind of situation in which the daughter-in-law finds herself and she's trapped. So particularly this slide I've already covered in the last one. So we'll move on to the next one. Rich uses a simile, a mouldering like wedding cake, here. The woman who was once a beauty finds that her mind is now crumbling and rotting like wedding cake. The simile points out that the woman's mind and the cake are equally fragile and are equally susceptible to decay. The words heavy and rich carry on the simile. Wedding cake is rich and heavy on the stomach. Similarly, the woman's mind is heavy with rumors and suspicions. From the observations that Rich's fictional mother-in-law still has her dresses copied from the time, and that her mind is crumbling to pieces under the knife edge of mere fact, it is evident that this woman has neither the chance nor the ambition to escape this existence. Her daughter-in-law is actually aware of the bonds that keep her chained to domestic tasks, wiping the teaspoons. The angels urge her to save herself and grow away from her mother-in-law. It's interesting, the mother-in-law, when she became a daughter-in-law for the first time, she must have also gone through experience, the similar kind of experience that her daughter-in-law is going through now, but she somehow made her compromises, adjusted herself to the kind of life that was around her. But her daughter-in-law clearly understands that where these compromises are going to lead her, and so we suddenly see that there are angels, and who exactly are these angels? This is maybe her own consciousness that tells her that she does not have to end up like her mother-in-law, and she definitely has to do something, but what, she is not really clear about that.